Yeah.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order.
Yeah, I'll get it put away. Thank you.
We have everybody in attendance right now except for Dan and Rich Mansell. So I guess am I supposed to announce that this is certification of a quorum? All right, so we have a quorum. This was noticed, so we are in compliance with the Wisconsin open meeting laws, public record laws. Anybody here that we need to introduce? Need to let us know who you are. Jim, you want to start?
Jim O'Connor.
Scott O'Malley.
Gloria Kramer, citizen and Friends of the Library.
Patty Zeiss, Friends of the Library.
David Harden, Friends of the Library.
Joyce Law, Friends President.
Donna Davis, volunteer.
Okay, welcome all. We have put on the agenda an opportunity for you guys to make any comments if you'd like. Everybody have a chance to look at the agenda?
Move approval and not necessarily in that order,
Okay.
in the order specified.
The agenda has been moved. Proviso that
I'll
we
second
don't
it.
have to follow the order.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? No discussion? Great. We're on track. All those in favor of approval of the agenda?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Agenda is approved. The next date is September 17th here at 6:30. And also, in case you haven't done so already, set it for the third Tuesday of each month. Everybody okay with that? Any problems with anybody?
Oh, like I said,
Okay.
number 4 should be just announce the date for the next meeting. It's already been set by the bylaws.
Okay, perfect. Minutes, everybody have a chance to take a look at the minutes from the previous, actually it's from July, right?
See that shirt over there.
Yes, it should be July.
Okay. Everybody have a chance to look at the July minutes?
I'll move for approval of the minutes with one change, 10A. I abstained on that vote. It says vote taken, all A's.
Okay, make a correction.
Something about parking around here.
Dan, we're all here. Any further discussion? Oh, there's a second, we need a second.
Oh, second.
Minutes have been moved and seconded with one edit. Anything else? Any other additions?
Oh, no.
Nope. All right, all those in favor of approval of the minutes, the July minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions, forgot to ask for that. It's okay. Motion prevails and the minutes are approved. Citizen comments. Anybody like to make any comments tonight?
Yes, please.
Welcome.
Hi, Gloria Kramer again, friend and citizen. I just would like to mention what I think might be a little bit of a safety issue. Outside in the front on the curb, a lot of those, they're not bricks, but that stone stuff is disintegrating and falling, and you've got like little crumbles coming down, and it looks like they're tilting and could fall. I don't know, somebody that knows what to do with that might want to take a look at it. I don't know if that's maintenance or who it is, but
Okay.
somebody like that.
Barb?
My son is a structural engineer with a master's degree from Iowa State.
Okay.
I had him look at that wall, and structurally, it will not fall down.
Okay,
It may crumble a bit, but
Okay.
it's not going to fall down according to his
okay.
educated opinion.
Well, the
So
only
we've had
reason-
someone who knows about structural engineering look at
Okay,
it.
the only reason I even bring it up is because I watch the concerts from here on Thursday evenings, and we get children that come up and climb over. And I mentioned to parents, it's not a good idea, it's dangerous, and.
For a
you know,
variety of reasons,
We don't
but-
need $1 million lawsuit.
The wall's not going to come down.
Okay, that's good to know. Number 2, the big long set of stairs that we have, could we have someone please paint a yellow on the edges, because the lighting in this entryway is very dim. And if you're coming out after dark, you can't see. That's all. I'll think
Okay.
of something later.
Yeah, thanks, Gloria. All right, all noted. Thank you, Barb. Any other comments? Quick comments? No, everybody good? All right, thank you. Linda?
Okay. In July, our revenue was 19,176. You have to realize we had gotten money for bridge and gas, which was $14,530. Any other questions on this? You have a little comment bar there. You understand everything that was in that comment?
One question, how often does that Coke machine pay?
Well, in the summertime, it's not paid monthly. In the wintertime, not at all. But it does get used. Staff compensation this last month was $35,609. Then we go into the bills. Remember when I said we were going to have outsource the cataloging? That bill came to, wait a minute, is that the one or is this? Yeah, and yeah, this is the cataloging. It came to $11,246. We paid the Schindler elevator. They did their inspection again. Minuteman is under postage for $1,400. That's for the Bridge the Gap. Minuteman, 29, almost 3,000 was for the printing of Bridge the Gap flyers. Any questions? Those are the only unusual thing that we have. I mentioned last time about the telephone bill. I did give it to Mike Kruger from City Hall. Apparently he's in charge of making sure that we are not paying an outrageous price for long distance. I paid $319, but the bill is $900. He is contacting someone at AT&T, and if you remember the other year we did this, it went for like 6 months. Every time they changed the state telephone plan, it takes forever to get that sorted. Any other questions? Okay. One of the things on your agenda is the actual financial report. I believe we didn't get to that last time. And you can see it here. Do you see it up here, anyone? Proposal with links.
Let's see.
Yeah, okay, then can't find it there, we're gonna have to go talk. And I was wondering if anybody printed out?
I think this is the expenditures for the P&L. It says it's 7B on your printout here.
There was a long document of about
7C.
17 pages, which I did not print.
That was the children's
This one.
programs.
Yeah. that
No, this
one.
is revenue guideline with detail.
Oh.
Yep, that one?
Yep.
And I think that was from January to July. I think
Right.
I'll just give you the current one.
I think that's helpful. I think you also did that, Linda. There was a document that looked very similar.
There was a one-page that was just July.
And what is that the one that says balance sheet on it?
No.
Yes, this one says balance
That one
sheet.
says balance sheet.
Here's the one. Right here, it looks like this, and I'm pretty sure I have the word actual on it.
Does it say agenda item 7B on the right-hand column,
It could.
up at the top on the right?
It says year-to-date, July 31st, revised budget. Then it says remaining balance, way
Okay.
over.
Right, yep.
The balance that's remaining at this time for actual is $30,826, for $826. And the year revised budget was is 504,928.29. Anybody?
Yeah, this one, get 2 pages. Yeah, 2 pages.
Yeah, it's 2 pages. Pretty sure I had the word actuals on it, so.
Just July.
But I believe you asked for it at the last meeting, the actual, the one you have in your hand right now, I believe.
I don't.
No.
Linda, is there anything to be read out of the last column that's on here? Dashes and
What are the dashes and
parentheses, hashes and parentheses?
That's just from their program, and I don't know what all that.
It has no meaning of any kind?
No, it doesn't have any meaning.
Okay.
But, you know, at this point, our actual, you know, is, we have a remaining balance of 30,826.
Oh, maybe it's a graphics, because it was like maybe-
That's against budget to date.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, would be 7/12 of every budget item.
Not necessarily.
I don't believe we budget against what the expenditures are likely to come. We just, I think, the
Well,
budget.
it's as expenses come in, it's not necessarily 7/12 of the budget.
I think.
Right, it's not a formula.
It's
That's
not,
point
it's not,
noted.
Not a
nothing-
formula.
nothing's linear there, I mean, it's expenditures.
Okay.
Expenditure.
Is it, would you consider moving some of that money, let's say, back into books or periodicals?
How much we talking about that remaining balance, 30,826?
Yeah. Mhm.
What do you think? Linda?
Well, you know, on our periodicals, we only have 5,000 in there, and you know, it's running almost to $8,000 for periodicals, which means I'm really gonna have to cut a lot of the items that we subscribe to. And if you notice,
So Linda, do you anticipate that 30,000, if spending continues as it appears to be? I mean, one of the places I saw that we are significantly under budget is in technology. So in a sense, what you might be asking is that we're moving money that was originally planned to be used on technology into periodicals. Is that, in a sense, what you're doing?
yes.
Okay.
And our total for periodicals is budgeted is 8,000?
No, we budgeted only 5,700. I think we
But previously?
previously it was 8,000.
Well, we've been cutting many items, but many items that cost $10 or $20, right?
Has anybody done an assessment of the utilization of the periodicals?
It's pretty hard to do because they read here in the library walls. We do send out some of the magazines in the circulation. I think probably I'll in my report. And you know, like now I have the USA Today and the Star Observer downstairs and upstairs, because we do get a lot of people that will read in the lobby area. Or they're waiting for their cars to get serviced, or something's going on. I mean, there's some people that you probably never see in our library, except that one day of the year when they have to have something done or appointments, and they're waiting for someone.
No, we were just.
Okay, so 3,000 to periodicals. What about books?
Oh, remaining balance.
The books, I would like to have another 10,000 put in there. You know, we used to have it up to 75.
Right.
I think it's 7,000.
So I move that we move 3,000 to periodicals and 10,000 to the book budget, with the understanding that that there will be savings in other areas, such as technology.
Second? Anybody?
Sorry, would you repeat that one more time?
I move that we would move 3,000 into the periodicals budget and 10,000 into the books budget. Increase the budget for books and by $10,000 and the budget for periodicals by 3,000 with the understanding that there would be savings in other areas, including technology.
So
But
where are
where
you
would
taking
we
it
take
from?
it from?
Ditto. Where are you taking it from? You gotta take it out of
You could
something and
take-
put it in something.
You can
You
take the
can't just
3,000 out of technology and put it into books, because there's excess in there, but the 10 that's going into books has to come out of another line item.
Correct.
So you'd have to pick something that has a negative, say,
Linda, what's your
Library
recommendation?
reimbursement.
Well, one possibility would be to do that at this point, and we, subsequent months, as we monitor how spending is going, we can move it subsequently.
Yeah.
So let's, since no one has seconded my motion,
Well, I think there's still some confusion here. Dan?
Yeah, Linda, I mean, you're managing this and you're making that, asking that question of what do you want to do there? I mean, what works for you?
I guess I wasn't ready to say a certain line item. I looked at the whole amount that was. I believe I'm behind on our salary, are we not?
right? Yes.
So I also had one individual resign again today.
So is it better that we put this off for a month and you come back with a proposal of which lines it would come out of?
Again, yes. But I think where it says, I'll total it up, I'll have an amount for you.
I mean, I'm asking, my interest is supporting you in terms of what you want to do to make the finances work here. And when we do this, I guess I would prefer to have, you know, a recommendation.
This is the first time I've ever done
Yeah,
it, so
that
it's,
would, yeah, that's fine.
I will come up with something.
All right, so on the book expenditure, we budgeted 44,000, we spent 30,000?
That's year to date.
That's the year-to-date budget. That's 7/12 of the budget for the books.
And year to date posted in, you know, I mean, they,
Got it. Have you had any comments about periodicals that we canceled?
I never canceled any because I got a credit from the periodical.
Well,
As far as, I believe was Morningstar, I don't believe we've heard anything. I do not know about reference because the gentleman that did value line, I'm not upstairs enough to say at this point.
but isn't it true, Linda, that the periodical, the cuts will be for next year? That when you, the cut in spending was for this year? And so we'll pay that budget, the periodical invoice, the reduced periodical invoice will have an impact next year. We haven't really made the cuts yet.
I haven't made the cuts yet because when I pay the bill right now, the subscriptions will start January 1st.
That's right. So to answer your
So
question,
we're
we
just-
haven't,
Renewing subscriptions is what we're talking about, right?
right.
But, you know, like today, there was 5 people back there reading, you know, some newspapers, some magazines. I don't know which magazines they're in. Papers are very, very much used, the ones we get.
One of the ways you can do it is just tape it shut. And if it's broken, at least you know it's been used once.
I'm just wondering if we could put a clipboard or something back there and just say, we're trying to conduct a poll, find out usage of this, and put your name down and what you looked at or what you read, and just get some sort of an idea. You know, I mean, we had that, a couple of those really expensive periodicals that we were wondering about the usage of them, you know, and then, you know, to get an idea, get a feel. Some people might do that, some people might not. You might get some kind of an idea, you know,
Some people might.
what's being read or looked at.
If they know what we're up to, they might mark it several times, right?
Well, you might face that too, but I mean, you'll get an idea of some people are looking at these
Right.
financial periodicals versus the Hudson Craig or whatever, whatever.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea. I think it would be nice to try to get an idea of what type of usage we're getting on the periodicals. How many do we have? Any idea?
121, I believe.
121 periodicals? Yeah.
Well, this is a community of 30,000 people.
Yeah.
My goodness, you have to offer more than USA Today and the Star Observer.
I wouldn't disagree with that. That's just the number kind of caught me by surprise. Okay. All right. So look into that. Barb, you want to just wait a little bit and see what's going on?
Sure, that's fine. I think coming up with a specific proposal where the money will come from, rather than just saying it will be there.
Am I reading this right though? That have we outspent our 7/12 of budget on books, or not?
No.
We have not. So this is a $14,000 surplus
Up to
this point. Okay.
It's very difficult to keep all this managed when we know we're lean staffed, and it's really starting to get harder and harder to really monitor this.
I know.
I fly by the seat of my pants a lot of this.
Okay. All right, any further discussion on this, Linda? You want to move on?
Okay, what's next on here? Consider, okay, review of the 2014 budget. All right. You have it in your packet. I believe I gave you one blank one and one with. And I just sent out, the one in the blue is what I'm calling right now is proposal number 4. I gave it to every one of you. It's a new update. The update is because I stopped at the county today and I asked with that letter I received about exemption. It kind of stated something to the effect about 70% to other counties, and I kind of read it where even the St. Croix County libraries were going to get 70%. But Pat Thompson said he's planning on leaving it where we will be reimbursed for like Town of Wilson and all of those other communities that don't have libraries at 100%, which means we will get the 82,000 from the county. The packet I sent you, I believe it said 57,000 because I reduced it down to 70%, which the state law says that's all they have to give us. When I asked, he also said he's not going to propose a reduction, but that does not mean a board member won't propose a reduction in our reimbursement rate. So I put 82,000 in there, which is at 100%. Whoops, I left my little comment there.
Yeah, what is it?
I gave wage increases of 1%, and it does include the 1% for the library director as well. And that's under that staff compensation, and you see where I have a note to that effect.
I have a question on the benefits. Is this health insurance and life insurance and all those benefits, are they part of the city or are we on our own plan?
No, we're on the city plan, and they always, we're considered city employees.
Look at something else.
Okay.
The dollar amount seemed very high. I was wondering if we had the
Well,
opportunity to shop around or.
It was, what we paid last year was $68,600. I asked Devin increased it a certain amount. He does not anticipate that we will be paying $75,000 for the health insurance. But he asked us to put this figure in so that it's covered. It's a proposal.
Who do we provide that to? Just full-time, 40
Full-time
hours,
only.
30 over?
No, just 40 hours you have to work, and we have 3 full-time people, and they get the coverage. 2 are family, 1 is single coverage.
For 75,000?
Extremely.
How does that break down? How much is it for family and how much for single?
It runs, I believe, like, maybe one, I won't quote. I could look in my emails, but I won't quote.
It's very high. Generally, a family group is between 12 and 15. A single is, 6 to 10. I mean, so this is extremely high, so I was just wondering what is our opportunity to look at other coverage, and I didn't realize if it was within our...
According to the joint agreement, the city, our employees are city owned.
And that's where we...
They manage, so Rich is our expert on, who can potentially answer those questions.
It has been shopped.
It has
We did
been
shop
shopped, and partly that it's,
I think they do it almost every year, don't they?
Yep.
Try to get bids.
Well, I was looking at this for this group, so I was wondering that if it's city population, then that's...
yeah.
It's unbelievable. I mean, do you have like 1 or 2 employees with really big expenses, or? I
It
mean,
does affect.
Probably.
You're self-insured, the city's self-insured?
For health insurance?
Yeah.
No.
So you don't have, I mean, it seems like you almost would have 1 or 2 employees with huge medical expenses in order to come up with that kind of cost.
There are some large medical expenses. There are.
Which, you can't do much about.
That's right.
Wow.
Okay.
Anything else, Linda?
Any questions on the amounts that I have put in here in the blue column? I know I was asked to come to the finance committee with joint budget. I tried to maintain it at the level we did last year.
I'm a little confused about the building occupants expenses and routine repairs. Why is it set up like that? What does that mean? You changed it into a different item, or?
Building occupancy is the 132,440.
So it's just in the wrong
I gotta move it up.
spot.
Yeah, I gotta move it up.
I think something happened, things got, well, somewhere else.
Yeah,
Is it so-
got wrong.
It's-
Okay, so then the question becomes, why is it more?
Because it's based on the consumer price index.
Is the lease,
The
Yeah, according to the
lease
lease.
says what they can, yeah.
okay, so it's gone up
Oh, yeah, it goes up every year.
pretty much every year?
There's one document that we received,
Mhm.
Curtis,
Mhm.
that outlines what's happened, the history.
Mhm.
So you should have it in your packet, or you
Okay.
should have received it. Or it was made available to us, it was.
Right,
What's this?
of the district. I'm sure I have.
If list fees did go up, I did abstain on a vote that I knew if I had voted no, a lot of the other libraries wouldn't have gotten what they wanted, so I abstained. Funding issues are different for other libraries than this library, and I felt it would be unfair for me to vote and cancel all what they really wanted. And now we'll pay for it.
So we're voting on a budget.
Yeah, there's a few agenda items that affect this page here, so I'll just throw out 2 questions. One, how far into the $15,000 Friends are we? So does that apply to 2014?
I don't believe so, no. This is the last year, and I've had.
There's one more year.
There's
Oh,
one more.
there is one more year, so I could.
So there's
put that up.
15,000 here.
I did not put it in. but I
Right.
could.
And has it been decided whether that's an opportunity to move forward or not? Is that done, not, one time, 5-year thing?
It hasn't been discussed.
We haven't discussed it.
Okay, all right.
And was there a decision not to do more for, or to not put Bridge the Gap, or to leave, I mean, the Bridge the Gap 15,000?
Well, that's my concern, yeah.
I think that's good, that's all we've received so far.
If you,
Through the
I
end
put
of
up
July.
in a new update, I believe what was the total after cost?
10,000 something.
No, that's,
No, I updated it to August 15th.
It was like 15,000.
Yeah, the 2,000 expense of 4,400.
Yeah, and I got a whole.
Okay,
bunch of
so
stuff, and I don't know what they all mean.
In reality, we've collected 15,000 at this point, August 15th.
This is-
If
Right.
you take away the postage and the billing for the letters and everything.
You're at a net of 15,000.
Right, and then,
Yeah, and that's a concern, because you have that item kind of next. And my concern is that when you lay it out upon when the mailing was and when the funds came in, if you apply like the 80-20 rule, we're there. So we're gonna end up short of what's budgeted. So when you look at this $30,000, we're gonna end up potentially short.
where is the 30,000?
No, we're talking about the 30,000 that to this date, at the end of July 31st, on the previous discussion, that there was $30,000 that we were ahead of the budget, basically.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So my point is that 30 might not be 30 if we collected 80% of the Bridge the Gap already, based on the timeline of the other one.
so
That's a good point.
Linda, we also received $5,000 at the beginning of the year as a gift that was not budgeted, correct? So, if you go back to the income, you'll see 5,000 there.
But that was a gift, I don't think you want to budget that.
No, but it is income. I mean, we're, all
Yeah,
of
but
the,
that's
all the
great,
bridge.
that's gravy income, that's not income that you count on. When it comes to a budget, just like Bridge the Gap, I'd be in favor of leaving the 15,000 in here, and if you get 25 or 30, that's gravy. That's wonderful. You don't have to,
Unless
you
we're,
always underestimate your income and overestimate your expenses, it helps you come out better.
I was gonna say, unless we're gonna do a second run at it, you could anticipate more income, but
Yeah, but I just leave
it's,
it.
it's been a while, so we probably won't get more than 15.
No, it isn't coming in, maybe 2 or 3 come in a week. It's really down to hardly anything.
Don't do a
coming
trickle.
in.
Yeah, and all I'm doing, Linda, is I'm taking the mailing date last year, and I'm looking where about the 80% line is, and I count the weeks, it's about 6 weeks. We're at 6 weeks, I mean, we're there. And everything else after that was dribbles.
Yep.
I think you're being optimistic at 15,000 for next year,
What would you like there?
something more like 10. I think
Because
that's,
it's gonna delete, it's gonna ratchet down another.
it's gonna come back
probably.
down.
Yes.
There are a lot of people who, I think, probably looked at that as a one-time deal, gave some money and it came the second time. And they're like, well, I'm not doing that again. They didn't look at that as an annual gift giving. And I think you're being optimistic to think it's gonna be 15,000 again.
But maybe next year we have a different approach too, so I think it's probably reasonable to stay at 15, in my opinion.
So I'd like to go back. The date on the Bridge the Gap total was July 31st of
I gave
15.
you a new one here today.
Okay, and what does that say?
I had it on your packet.
Okay.
Here you go. Turn that around.
Here,
This
okay.
is mine.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't-
Thought I gave it to you.
Still looking at the first thing.
This thing. How are you supposed to read this?
Yeah, this one, yeah. So total,
19,552.
yeah, minus the mailing
Minus-
expenses,
minus
6,000 or whatever, 5,900.
5,000. So
So if who's in agreement, we leave it at 10, and who's in agreement, we leave it at 15.
So we've already raised 14,515 net.
Not,
The total Bridge the Gap as of August 16th is $19,552. $19,552.
And if you look at your budget here, I pointed out where postage was almost 1,500 and almost 3,000 for the mailing.
We approved 50. So currently, we've cleared 15, approximately.
What I'm talking about is for next year, though. I'm not talking about this year. I think it's being optimistic to think we're gonna get 15 again.
Okay, we're $9,500 now below last year.
Correct.
It's below last year's total, where we're at right
We're not
now.
going in the right direction.
Right.
I think it would be, it's highly optimistic to think we're gonna get the same amount.
well,
I'm in for 10,000 if you're going again.
Did all the board members give to Bridge the Gap?
No.
Then probably 10,000 is the right number.
Okay, I'm switching
Is
it
that part
to
of being a
10.
board member? I didn't know that.
I,
A prerequisite.
it's not, I didn't say that.
Well, gee.
Number of
Between the
donors.
lines. Yeah, I'd make it 10. Don't count on it. It's,
Okay, you had 333 donors last year, you got 231 this year, so everything's kind of on a sliding scale.
yeah, that's true.
Okay, should we go on to the general operating expenses? Did you notice anything that you felt was out of line with what the 53,000 stays, because that's our fee for Indian Head. The 13,752 again, that's that consumer price index is how it gets increased. I pretty much left a lot of this the same as we have this year. I did lower the contracted maintenance and repairs to 600, it was 750. And we only used 150 this year. Adult programming, 1,000. Children's programming, 2,700, excuse me. Adult programming, $1,000. Children's programming, 2,700. Contracted services, that's the lease that we get, 5,500 for the copiers we have here. The 3M in the elevator is 5,000, and I know we always make a comment about the 3M fee, but you couldn't get that much work out of an individual for what we pay there. 80% of our checkouts go through those stations. Everybody wonders how it happens, but I think it's because we have lines a lot sometimes. 2,500 for the postage, which we had this year. Other library supplies, that was office supplies, 1,500,000.
They go back to postage, you're already at 20, you only got $17 left. So how's 25 gonna work if there's 5 months?
Yeah, we got $18. But we also need to transfer money from the Bridge the Gap back into that line item, which was $1,500. So then we'd have 1,517.
Oh, so that's not rolled back in yet into their,
You haven't, there has not been a motion to take money from Bridge the Gap and put it under postage.
Put it back in.
replace the line.
That's why it looks the way it does.
Okay, so that'll be fixed.
okay.
Membership is 500, advertising 1,000. We are in the hole on that one, but we have to advertise a couple times in the newspaper, and every ad is $700. Seems like.
Why did you have to advertise in the paper?
It's for employment.
Oh, for employment. Is there an opportunity to break off from the city as far as that health insurance goes?
I guess that would have to be, you'd have to take that up with the
I mean,
city.
$75,000 is an amazing figure for two family policies and one single policy. You could buy that in open market on your own for 50% of that. I mean, we could realize a savings of $30,000 there, 30 to 35,000.
You're making a point and you need to just check on it. We have done it before with the city, we're city employees. They try to get the best deal possible.
What I'm saying is something's there, something's in that city policy that's forcing it.
No, it's the lease agreement, or the joint agreement.
For the joint agreement.
The joint
Well, that could be
agreement.
addressed.
With
It'd have to be
your
addressed with the
municipalities?
Have to be addressed with the partners.
You know, 4 partners would have
Right.
to sign on.
It's a double-edged sword. You know, we get a bad experience here just one time, and then we're out on our own.
Yeah, the experience follows the policy, so I mean, you could have the same buildup in a few years, but this is kind of extreme. But
Okay, books I left at 65,000, technology at 8,500. Audio visuals, or periodicals, I put at 7,000, it's 2,000 less than our bill. Our bill runs between 7,500 and 800, or 8,000. Activity, or audio visual, 18,000, I did up that 2,000. That is one of our more popular circulating items, and it brings a lot of people in here. It's a value to our citizens, and I felt I wanted to raise it. We did have it at 16,000 this year.
Audio visual being,
DVDs, books on CDs, mainly the books on CDs. You know, you have a community here, and they check out all the books on CDs and listen to them at little work. When you're sitting in traffic, you can listen to it. Okay, activity fund was 1,500. It was the same as last year. That's where we get a lot of the stuff for the kids promoting reading, or if we have parties for the students, or the young people. Workman's comp is 800. Public liability is 2,700. And public official is 2,100, and then property is, and then, like I said, the building occupancy expense automatically goes out towards the cost of living.
Can you explain the property insurance?
Property.
So we're negative, but there's some part of that
The
we're not
reason we're
seeing.
negative is a couple years back, they gave us a credit, but since then, they've had a lot of claims, and so they have to raise the amount.
and that's gonna go down.
So are we gonna be short?
14, are you budgeting for us a shortfall in that next year?
They charged us 1,400. They're,
But we're looking at 970 in the budget for next year.
no, this is
She changed it to
970 in
14.
2013,
Oh, I see, okay.
okay? It's 14 for 2014.
I must be missing something.
She's changing it up
that's-
there
No,
on
that
the,
was-
That's
on the screen.
that's the oops in the line,
Yeah.
item.
Oh, okay.
So whatever 970.
Is it the last year of the lease agreement? This 132,
No.
414?
We have to make a decision by December 31st if we're gonna lease the building for next year. Right?
No, the lease, we have to make a decision about renewing the lease that would go into effect January 1st, 2015.
Okay. So that decision we have to make before the end of the year.
But this is not the last year of the lease, which was the question that Kurt
Yeah,
asked.
we did that.
Linda, can you explain the second line item, Hudson Finance Personnel Fee? What is that?
They do our payroll. I submit the invoices on their software, they run the checks. They have to be the fiscal agent according to state statute.
Or one of the 4 municipalities has to, and the partners agreed that it would be the city of Hudson.
So what's the amount at the bottom? B?
This is just your operational cost.
I'm talking about the net revenue expenses. That's different than what we're looking at on the sheet right now.
Because we make changes.
Right, what is it, he's asking?
I'm just asking what it is. It's
We're short.
$59,763. So where does that leave us in whatever
That means-
surplus we have?
You have your sheet there.
There's 245 in the account total.
Did you-
Yeah.
The other thing is, we've never said how much we're gonna leave in the unallocated funds. Where's the balance sheet? Anybody have it handy?
I think they just
I
read it
do.
was 243. Is that right? Marion, you?
I got 245,
Okay.
535 as the ending balance, but you're looking for for what? The unclaimed, did you say?
No, it's,
Unallocated.
it's the fund balance, it's the 242, 380. Do you see up?
So we're still projected to have a shortfall of 40,000 this year,
Mm-hmm.
which means we're down 200,000. Projected shortfall next year for 60,000, takes us down to 140.
You need 35,000 a month for cash flow? I mean, you're basically there.
At what point do you start looking at places to cut and not run a deficit? I guess that would be the question I would have.
Well, you can't run a deficit, because if we need 3 months cash flow, we're 1 year out and it's
Right.
gone.
Seems to me like there's got to be some adjustments somewhere.
If we have $200,000 sitting in reserves and we make cuts,
I didn't say cuts, I said adjustments.
Well, and
I'm sorry, how, are you suggesting we add some places?
it's not long before we're broke. And like Marion said, we've got to have money set aside for cash flow purposes. So, I mean, at some point in time, we have to address this issue, whether it's through cuts, adjustments, or you determine that. I mean, somehow, some way, we've got to make adjustments, because we've got, and in fact, our deficit, even with cuts over the past year, our deficit next year is going to be greater than it was this year. And if that's going to be a trend, then we're out of money in a year and a half, probably. And I don't know what our partners are thinking, if they expect us to spend that down before we do anything different. But I guess I just want to be proactive and say we really need to start taking a look at what we're going to do here with this budget.
Jim, can I ask, and you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but you used to look at the fund balance. Didn't you always figure like 3 months?
Yes, I did.
Minimum? Yeah.
All right.
Which is where we're at right now. Basically.
No, I'm saying, well, 3 months, I'm saying we need, yeah, we're close.
Right.
Well, we have to propose a budget to the 4 municipalities by September 1st. How are we going, what is your recommendation as the board?
Well, you know, Linda, that the first thing they're going to ask is, what have you done to reduce expenses? That'll be number one. And so we need to be ready for that. I mean, if this is the budget that we intend to propose and to submit, then we've got to be ready for the tough questions. So what have you done to deal with your deficit? And I mean, certainly we've already cut back a day, and you know, we've reduced expenses here and there, but that's going to be the question.
Well, you did ask what it cost a day.
Right.
And what, 92 or something like that?
You know, I had asked, and Neil had sent this on. I didn't.
This is this. It's right here. on
Did he
the-
send this to everybody?
No, he just sent it.
Yeah, $160,000 would be 3 months. So you got 80,000 left. There's a year left of operating
Right.
revenue in the fund.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So we're there, pretty much.
I'm gonna ask this one more time, just so I'm clear. What is the commitment to stay in this building to the city? What date, to what date?
What you said, you mean the police department, or?
No,
December 31st of 2014, if I understand it correctly.
okay. All right. So through the end of next year.
So we run out of money about that same time, coincidentally.
Right.
Well, the partners have also said, what have you done to raise revenues?
Oh.
They've actually not asked us how you cut. They've actually said, what have you done to raise revenues? And what I heard us saying earlier is that we are not going to, in fact, we've cut what we anticipate would be coming through donations, which is what they were asking us to do. At least that's my understanding of what they were asking us to do.
It was a separate deal, though. I mean, we've talked about this before. It was a separate deal, not bridge the gap.
No, this was Bridge the Gap. I'm sorry. There were other things earlier, but I've only been on the board for 2 years.
Mhm.
So my experience doesn't go back to the earlier time. I'm only talking about my personal experience. And what they were saying to me is bridge the gap. What have you done? And they were very excited when we
Right.
did our first annual campaign, because they were pleased that we had finally done what they had been asking. So.
Kurt, your question?
Well, I mean, we're in a position that Marianne and I said we would be in at that city council meeting, remember, Marianne?
Mhm.
When we spoke to the city council, and the city council made the decision to move the police department and sign an agreement to put the library in here. Marianne and I stood in front of the city council and said we will be out of money at the end of those 5 years. And that's where we're at. It saddens me that the people that pushed for this move have disappeared from, except writing a few letters to the editor. They don't do anything as far as raising money. And that whole private fundraising effort is non-existent. So, now, what's going to happen is that, you're going to have to cut hours again and staff, and you're going to end up having the most expensive red box video store in the country, because you're going to have a shell with no people and no hours.
I think we will, not you, we will.
I'm talking to Linda.
But
as the
it's
director.
not her library, it's our library, she's our employee.
Well, you're gonna parse words, I don't care, and you guys are so angry, it's amazing. But I wasn't the one that advocated for the move to this library, to this building, all right? I did not advocate for it. I said that it was the wrong thing to do. I'm on record saying that. So I can stand behind that, because at the other building, we could afford books and hours and all those other things. But it's a shame that we're putting ourselves through this mental gymnastics because of a few people who pushed to get us here. And they disappeared from the whole scene.
We are there, and so it's our responsibility. We've agreed to serve our communities on this board.
But the library, but understand that the library board is limited on what it can do.
Well,
Correct?
I don't know that we're
We are-
totally limited.
Well, we are pretty much limited as far as revenue, raising revenue.
We can
And
make
our-
requests.
And one of our main items that we can affect is costs. But when it comes to, from the revenue standpoint, the library board, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I'm new to this board, but it seems as though we're pretty much limited as to how much revenue we can raise.
I don't believe that's actually the case. Other library boards are advocates for their libraries and talk to their municipalities. As long as we are not an advocate, I agree with you. As long as we do not take on the responsibility of taking on some of the fundraising aspects,
Well,
as long as we don't support the library ourselves, then I think you're right. But I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that that's the case.
I don't look at raising taxes.
I was just gonna say, the accusation is such
Yeah,
that
it's
this move
amazing.
was precipitated upon everybody's taxes increasing to fund the difference, and that is incorrect. We were involved in
I
that
didn't make
time.
any accusation.
That was the inference and reference that you were making by that statement. Go advocate for your library to your town or to your boards and ask them to raise the money for you. That's what that means in reality. The point is, there was a piece of the whole puzzle that we never got to. And I think that's all that's being said.
Well, but I'm saying, regardless of what happened, we are still responsible at this point for dealing with it. When we agreed to serve our municipalities, we agreed to deal with this issue. So and going back and making change, we can't change the past. We can only deal with the current situation. And that's the responsibility that we each took on when we agreed to serve. So,
I'm not missing that. I'm with you on that.
okay, so let's deal with it.
We deal with it, you can't
We
raise
can deal with
taxes.
it, you can get another year if you slash $70,000 or $59,763 off, and it gives you another year.
Right.
And I think that's the point that's being made at
Okay.
this point in time, that's the point that's being made.
And-
Obviously, the building expense is the biggest thing out there, and that's coming up, so hopefully
So
that'll be
where
part of a
where
longer
is-
discussion as well.
Where is the reductions going to be?
Well, my question, and I continue to ask about why I asked about the lease. Are we committed, is that something, if we're committed to paying 132, we've signed a document saying that that $132,000 is set in stone, and we have to do that. But that's why I continue to ask that. Or is there any flexibility on that? That's why I've asked that, that's why.
It's in the
Brought it
joint
up.
agreement. Have you looked in the joint agreement?
That's what I'm asking you, okay?
Well, you know what? I'm the employee. You guys tell me. That's how it should be. I'm not telling you what to do. This was a decision. I am an employee.
Mhm. I'm just asking if it was in there, and you can continue to browbeat me about, have I looked at this or looked at that? I'm just asking, have we answered to that?
We had answered the question. It's a lease agreement.
Okay. Well, then there's no
Kurt,
flexibility.
there's an agenda item 9C that says review alternative proposal to renewing building lease. So maybe the answer is there.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's a
You know,
surprise.
some of this stuff came out of order, with like doing the bridge the gap, and then, after the budget, it just didn't line up right.
I put it out there because I believe Kurt had made comments about that. And did we not ask him to check into some alternative at that meeting, of our last meeting, or did I misunderstand?
No, the question was, are there other places maybe we can find them?
And that is an agenda item coming out. But I think this prefaces that discussion. As long as we're talking about the budget.
I think maybe the people that push for the move to this building should be part of that committee. Because it's going to probably end up having us moved out.
We haven't formed a committee yet.
Right. Or if there's anything that's brought about, we've got lots of advocates that can
Okay,
step in and figure that
why
out.
don't we just kind of stop this conversation at this point. We'll take that up again on the next agenda item. All right, whenever that is on the agenda.
So 7C is done then.
We done, Linda?
No, we've got to approve a
We have to,
budget.
Yeah, we have to have a budget. Proposed, we have. Remember, September 1st. Now, I don't know what your answer is going to be. When you, what was it per day? $932, is that correct? That's what I understood. Per day, it costs $932 to run the library.
Rich, can I,
Yeah.
is it possible to make a motion to say to defer this on the agenda till we get past some of the maybe more?
Sure, if that's what you want to do, but we do have to have a budget here by the end of the night.
What I'm saying is maybe there's something down lower in the agenda here that,
Sure.
that we don't know
That's fine.
about.
That's fine.
So I'd at least make that motion.
All right, so without any objection, is that okay? We move that farther down and defer any action on this till we get through the rest of the agenda.
You have a motion that says you can take the agenda in any order you want.
Right.
Right. I just want to make sure there's no objection right now.
I don't think there's any.
Okay. Have we, we've discussed Bridge the Gap, have we discussed everything we wanted to discuss here, Linda?
Ally has other things to discuss, especially the Savage Memorial Fund.
It's the only one we haven't heard from so far.
All right. Well, somebody from New York would like to contribute to Bridge the Gap, and she came down to speak to Linda and I in Linda's office. Her name is Deborah, and she's the daughter of June and Will Savage. She
Excellent.
recently passed away. And last year they set up a memorial fund, and they would like to continue contributing, and that money will go to Bridge the Gap. Ironically, she knows my sister-in-law, which came up quickly in conversation from their the year together, I guess. So their total last year that they contributed was close to $2,000. And currently, as of this month, it's $800 for this year. So I'll be writing a press release for that, for their family, in that memorial fund.
So the annual then is,
What they're contributing annually?
yeah,
I don't think there's
No,
a set amount.
these were memorials at the time of death. June died, and got $2,000.
right.
And then Will died, it was $700.
700. Oh, I thought you said they wanted help annually. Maybe I was just.
Well, just for this year.
Okay.
Last year
Okay.
and now this year.
That's good though, that's great.
It's one way to encourage others
Yes.
to make gifts to give to Bridge the Gap. It's one
And then
way of
June
following
Will
up.
lived here in Hudson, he ran a company. And he published a book that we have in our library.
Will's book,
Mhm.
yeah,
The
poetry, yeah, nice book. Recommend it to everybody.
And what about the websites?
Well, since that Bridge the Gap brochure was only mailed to property owners, from my understanding. I recently moved to Hudson and I didn't get one, so I figured if people want to donate, why not put it online? The brochure has already been approved, so I uploaded it to the library's website, and there was a request from Joyce from the Friends to put that on, to have their members to be able to access that, and they can just print out the form online, read the content of the brochure, and it saves costs too. If anybody wants to go online and look that up and give a donation to the library.
Excellent, nice job.
And then also, branching off of that, the library does not have a current brochure on what we offer, what kind of services we give to patrons. So in the future, I'd like to take information from the Bridge the Gap brochure and create a permanent brochure for the library.
Any idea how much that's gonna cost?
I'll talk about that later. It's not on the agenda, so I can't say.
Okay.
And then Mary's not here right now, and then comes Ally again.
Let's see, I have a whole list of stuff to talk about. An e-newsletter, I don't think we've had one of those yet for the library, so that's another cost-saving method, just to put it all online. where anybody can have access to that. So I'll be creating one for the fall, and that information will be available to any patrons that would like to subscribe online through a form. They can sign up with their email address, and topics will include current events on our calendar, more descriptions about our programs, Bridge the Gap reports, information about Friends membership. And then the second item would be the book chalk walk for 2013. It's something I would like to see happen annually. This one will take place on August 30th from 10 to 2, where the public can come in and get chalk from the library. We have a supply of chalk based on what's available, where you can draw your favorite book covers, your favorite characters from your summer reads or back to school reads. It's open to all ages, professionals, amateur artists, anybody who likes to read or create. And just a fun event before people go back to school. I'd like to possibly give away prizes, and we have a budget for that I'll talk about in a little bit. Otherwise, just ribbons, first, second, third place. Just something to do for fun, and then take a picture as long as I have permission to do that for the newspaper. I'd also like to set up a back to school with books or donation of school supply booth in the lobby area, which I'm kind of piecing together right now, for people just to come in and donate supplies if they like to the local schools. Anybody have any questions on that so far? And also I talked to the Friends about bringing their book carts down. They usually have free items on those carts, and they put those outside anyways. So I figured that can be just in addition to that event. Third item would be adult programming. I run Tech Help, and I discussed that before. It's an online reference service that people can access from the library's website. It also includes tutoring, and a lot of people have been coming in interested in that and signing up online, and I found it pretty helpful. So I'd like to continue that, and I enjoy doing it myself. So, and off of that, Tech Help, I have some supplies. I have an iPad that it belongs to the library, but it's an iPad, a Nook, a Kindle. So I'd like to use that to sort of set up a library tech toolbar, and other libraries have started this as well. And since they're just sitting at my desk, I figured I might make use of that. So I'm going to be contacting somebody from another library to see how they secure those devices, and this will be something that runs twice a week, and I'll be staffing it. If anybody comes in and has questions, I'll be downstairs to answer those as a part of Tech Help. So it lets patrons that don't normally have access to those devices to tamper around with those. And if they have questions, I'm there, and Matthew, our other librarian, is here to help too. And Denim for a Cause is a foundation, or it's not exactly a foundation, but it's something set up by First American Bank. I believe they do this monthly, where they help donate through Denim with a Cause to different organizations, not necessarily in Hudson, but for this month they've chosen to give to the library $500, and this is a donation given by their staff if they wear jeans on Friday. So I created a board to put in their bank to explain what the library does, and they should be done raising money, I think, within the week. Do a press release for that. So some of those funds will go to adult programming, and we haven't discussed for the rest of it. Also, there's a new health reform coming out. So I'm going to pass these out. It's part of Obamacare. It's called the American Care Act, and the library will be taking a part on this in 3 steps to promote to the public, advertise in the local paper, raise awareness, and give assistance to patrons wanting to learn more about applying for this type of care. And we'll be doing that by advertising and by being in contact with maybe the local hospital and the county to see if they can send over representatives that know information about this act to do workshops or webinars here at the library. And then our staff here will assist patrons coming in to figure out how to set up accounts online to get this service.
I guess the question I would have is why are we involved in that? Why is the library?
It's part of the law. Like,
Provide
Obamacare,
information to the public.
yeah, if Obamacare says if you need information on any of this health, American Care Act, you go to your library. They will assist you.
We
And
assist
we're
them
not
in
getting
finding
paid for it,
information.
it's just part of the law.
Pieces of dirt.
So staff isn't going to.
It's called an unfunded mandate.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that any additional cost to us?
No, we'd be
No,
getting other representatives.
We were
from
trying to get free
volunteers.
speakers on this topic to come
Yeah.
to the library.
The
We
staff here will
only
just be
can,
assisting in setting up accounts online.
we can only assist them in finding the form. We cannot advise them on which policy to take. I do anticipate we'll have a lot of people here because there may not be computer literate and it might take up some of our staff time.
Well, perhaps, we don't receive federal funding, do we?
No.
And I don't think they can compel us to do anything, but maybe we ought to ask the federal government if they could give us a little bit of money to help out.
Well, I can guarantee the American Library Association has been working on this.
I'm sorry, what?
The American Library Association has been working on it. Library blogs that I subscribe to, there's a lot of complaining about the fact they said the library, but there's no funding. How are we gonna supply the staffing for all of this?
Right.
But it's part of the Obamacare Act.
So we need to talk to our
Government mandated.
Government.
our representatives and senators.
If they gave us money, they could.
Any other questions on that one? Okay, and then the last one is Friends Appreciation Day. And we have a couple of members from the Friends here. And I asked around to see if we've ever done anything like that for them, and maybe just once. Okay. So doing something, I guess I would ask for funds for maybe some balloons or some snacks or something to put in the lounge, just for the Friends or the library staff, and just to kind of honor the members and the volunteers that have helped out at the library here.
How are you gonna advertise that?
It'll just be for the members.
Oh.
Appreciation just for the, yeah.
How about,
So publicly.
Bridge the Gap people?
Possibly.
Well, I think we want to keep it to the Friends. The Friends have done a lot. They've given us $15,000 for how many years? They supply a lot of the stuff that,
You know, I can't disagree with that, Linda, at all, but, you know, I think to reach out to the other people,
We could do an additional one at some point for Bridge the Gap.
Okay.
But this one is solely for the
Got it.
Friends. And that would include setting up a booth downstairs in the lobby for the public to read about the Friends, their contributions, a possible group photo if they can get that to happen. And just collect information about what the Friends organization is and how to become a member. As a staff person, didn't really know too much about the Friends here, so I've been finding out little bits of information here and there. But to put something together for people to really become aware of who the Friends are and to get them on board, so.
Publicize it through the paper, get the Star Observer, run an article on it. You know,
I'm also working on creating a logo, so that's still in the works, but I've been kind of busy.
That's a news
Sounds
item.
New logo.
A news item they do for free.
So
Yeah.
maybe I could present
Yeah.
that at the next Friends Board meeting. I think that's in September coming up, and then see if I can put that on trifold.
I think that's a really important thing to do. We don't need to designate funds. Aren't there funds that can be used for this? Or is there,
well,
Maybe
Is
the
it be-
I'm going to take it out of the activity fund.
that's what I mean. It seems to me,
But
yeah.
we're just letting you know, I
Right.
think we should invite the board members to visit also during this appreciation grant you. You can't have everyone here at one time because of the quorum, but week. You know, that's the problem.
No, you can do that as long as you post it.
Yes, we could post it.
Right.
I was just gonna say that.
You posted it as an open meeting, but there's gonna
But then
be,
that means everybody else can come.
well, there's gonna be a possible forum.
Yeah, you post it as a gathering of the board members.
Right.
And no action will be taken, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And you're for-
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that.
But, you know, they have done a lot for our library.
Right.
Over the years that I've been here, it's
No question.
unreal.
Yeah,
And that's it.
that's it? Nice job, Molly,
Excellent,
thank you.
excellent, excellent, excellent.
You never say that when I'm
Nice job,
You
Linda.
haven't been listening.
Because you don't have,
This here is.
Yeah, you got your good ear in the other
Yeah,
side.
in the other side.
The rest of your report's been put on hold, Linda, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I'm sure I'm gonna get those now.
All right, presentations from friends?
Speaking of the Friends.
Yes,
That
yeah.
logo's coming.
Thank you
From
very much. Well, no, but thank you for this nice idea.
I have another staff, he just graduated, so he's helping me out with some ideas and figuring out things too.
Great.
So.
Well, as you already have discussed, the Friends pledged $15,000 a year. I think it was 4 years ago, because this is the fourth installment of that pledge that I would like to give to you, Linda.
Thank you.
And do with it what you need to do.
Now that we put it in the-
Thank you all very much. All right, so we need to form committees. I apologize, I have not had a chance to get out and talk with everybody about this, but I have had a chance to talk to a few people about committee membership. I have asked Rich to chair the finance committee. I never did hear a final answer.
I thought I accepted that.
Oh, did you? Okay, great. That's good to hear. That's good to
No
hear.
news is good news.
Yeah, and, all right, so what is this? Are we, do we need to vote on membership of the committees?
Yes, by the bylaws you do.
Oh,
yes.
okay. All right, so I've also asked Karen to sit on the finance committee. Karen has accepted. Pending approval by the board. And I have asked Dave also to sit on the finance committee, and Dave has accepted. So is there anyone else who would like to sit on the finance committee? And what's the total number? We can have
well,
three.
you'd have a negative quorum at 4.
Okay, all right, so, do we have citizen participation?
Yes, I mean, typically we have, and I think that's a good thing to do. It doesn't need to happen immediately, but I think that's wise for, I mean, in one way, it could be seen as board development. People who might be interested in serving on the board might learn about board affairs through serving on a committee. So I
Okay.
think that's, I don't know that we've used it in that way, but that might be, and I think there's expertise,
Mm-hmm.
so.
Okay, good. Well, we'll leave that open for citizen participation then. Anybody like to move the formation, acceptance of the members of the finance committee?
I move that the finance committee be chaired by Rich Vanslo and include Karen Holmeyer and Dave Osby.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Excellent. Congratulations, everybody, thank you. Next is Personnel and Policy Committee, or P&P.
P&P, yes.
I couldn't remember which one came first, but. So Susie Gilbert, I talked with her, and she has been very busy and is trying to wind down as she's nearing retirement, I guess, at some point in the not too distant future, and she has asked that we accept her resignation from the committee. So we need people to fill the roles on the Personnel and Policy Committee. Dan, you sit on the committee.
I have been, yeah.
Okay. Would you like to chair that?
No.
That's usually how we do things here. No, I don't want to do it, but.
Yeah, yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, excellent. Anybody else like to sit on the Personnel and Policy Committee?
I can sit on it with Dan.
Okay, great, thank you, Kurt. Anybody else? And of course, we have had citizen participation on that, and we would need to reach out to people that might be interested in helping us out there as well.
I've been on that one before, I'll go.
Marion?
You know,
Perfect, thank you. All right, motion?
So moved.
Then move that we accept Dan as chair and Kurt and Marion as members of the Personnel and Policy Committee.
Also not, if I vote against that?
No, actually, it won't.
It wasn't new members.
I actually didn't.
For a second to that?
I'll second.
Thank you, Karen. All right, it's been moved and seconded for members of the Personnel and Policy Committee. Any further discussion?
I could have voted against it.
Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. We've got our two committees. I'm not going to do anything with the strategic, what was it? The
Steering
strategic-
committee.
or steering committee, I'm sorry. At least at this point. I do think, however, that we have something that's real important that we take a look at, and that's obviously the piece on the agenda here. I think that I would like to see, and I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, tell me if you think it's out of place, but we've certainly had enough conversation in my short term here about whether this is the right building, are there other options out there, and I guess I would like to, at the very least, I would like to at least eliminate some of these things that are not reasonable options, and I'd like to get a committee together that would explore these. I would like to have, within a year's time, 6 months to a year, I'd like to have everybody on the same page. Either we're gonna stay here in this building and commit to it, either by default because we have no other option, or we find something that can work for the 4 members or 4 principals in their communities here. So I think that they include looking at a different building, certainly staying here long-term, perhaps buying this building, not just leasing it, but buying it. I think we're probably gonna be looking at a short-term lease, but who knows, I mean, just for the next couple of years until we have some idea what we're gonna do. I think also that partnering with the school district is something that we need to explore. It's happened in other communities, and they certainly, depending upon what happens with their referendum, they may have some additional space that we might be able to utilize, and that could be a good partnership, seeing as how they are their own taxing authority. It could be very helpful. Whether any of those work, I don't know. And there are probably some out there that we haven't even thought of. But I would like us to explore those things so that at least we can come together as a group and say, that's not gonna work, that's not gonna work. And, this is whatever we may come up with as a couple options we can start to look at maybe a little more in depth. Anyway, any discussion on that?
I think it's a good idea.
Anybody? Rich?
I think it's a good idea.
All right, so who would like to chair that committee?
What is the name of the committee?
Well, maybe the committee can figure that out once it's formed. I think, I have no idea. Haven't given that any thought.
I'm willing to do that.
You want to do that? Okay. I will sit on that. I'll work with you on that part.
Okay, good.
Anybody else? I think it'd be nice to have somebody representing some of these different ideas sitting on the committee. Kurt, you had discussed renegotiating the lease with the city. I think that's an option.
Well, if we're gonna stay in this building, that has to be an option.
Yeah.
Because you can't, when you look realistically at the finances, you can't stay in this building and operate a library that provides services to the patrons realistically without renegotiating the lease. Because like I said, otherwise, then you just have a shell, and you're open 4 days a week, or 5 days a week, or whatever it ends up being. I mean, then at that point, you have to determine what's the purpose of the library. I mean, you know, is it having a nice building, or is it providing learning opportunities for the community?
Right.
Right? Because that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
But I've also said that I think I think you should reach out to those people who advocated for this building, because that is the reason why you're forming the committee. Because if we were sitting in 4th Street, you wouldn't be having this discussion, because you had enough money to operate in the other facility.
okay.
And that's why I've said, I'm not interested in doing that, because I advocated against this move,
You're not interested in what?
sitting on the committee, for sure. But I think there's people
But
in the
you
community
won't.
that could. No, I'm not going to.
Okay.
Because
So
there's
it would
people
be
that need to look
helpful
at
to
that.
recommend people who have expertise in this area. I mean, we're not at this point considering how, or is the charter to consider both the funding of it as well as, I assume that we're looking for something that is at least cost neutral, if not something less.
Right.
I mean,
Oh,
that's-
I would think absolutely, yeah.
I mean, we're not looking for something, that's the purpose, is to consider how we might find another location that would be cost neutral.
Right.
I mean, there would be the issue of the moving to a new location, which is a significant chunk of change we don't have, but.
Yeah. All right, so,
I would definitely reach out to Dean Knudsen.
I don't think you want to sit on a committee.
Well, yeah, I said reach out to him.
So would we suggest that he recommend somebody that would be,
Well, I heard you say maybe we're supposed to recommend that. It's a strong recommendation.
I think that's true.
okay, thank you.
Dan?
Well, I mean, I'm willing to serve on that since my employer happens to be the subject of some of the conversation.
Education, that would be good, okay.
Okay, so that's 3 members of the board, I guess that's our limit.
Yeah.
And I think it would also be wise to try to find some citizen participation in that
Right,
as well.
right.
Do I hear a motion?
Self-serving.
Motion to approve the committee, Dan, Barb, and yourself,
Any,
for coming up with a plan, long-term plan.
okay.
What do you want to say?
I'll second.
All right, approval of a committee to explore our options for the future, and it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Longevity, we ran into this with previous committees.
Right.
Is there a term? Is there?
Recommendation?
You said 6
I'd
months.
I'd like to, within 6 months to a year, I'd like to have us all
I don't think you have it yet.
Yeah, I would say 6 months.
6 months.
I think 6 months is a good time.
Okay. All right.
And then the other, before I vote, it has to do with how many citizen participants potentially. Is it wide open? Is it 10? 5?
No, you know what, I mean,
One?
I don't want it unwieldy. But,
Just don't make it 23, is that the task force number? Let's not do 23.
Any thoughts?
Probably, I mean, if we had 7 people, that would be a good, I mean, I'm just thinking
One
in
from each
terms
community?
of. Well, I was thinking of 4 additional people.
Yeah.
That would, a group of 7, it's not too unwieldy.
Sounds like a lot of people to work fast. But maybe
But I
10
think-
hands make light work, don't
Yeah,
know.
well, and if we need expertise, that's one way to get it, that we don't have, and access to information that we don't have.
Rich?
Yeah, I think, go ahead, Linda.
What about ethnicity? Is it Dave, you know, he knows a lot of, he gives building permits and stuff like that. Would he be a good person to possibly put on there?
Would David Gray?
Yeah.
He certainly knows the city because he's been all through it.
Yeah.
Potential.
Okay, that's great.
Potential.
Well, and Dan just came up with a good idea. Perhaps we reach out to the partners and ask if they've got anybody in mind that they
Right,
would recommend
that's,
to
yeah,
us.
no, I think that's great, yep.
Okay, so you limit it to 6 months, you limit it to 7.
Is that good? You want to make that part of the motion?
Sure.
Yeah, I can, yeah. Well,
Yeah, it's my motion.
Yeah, it's your motion.
You second it, Ken?
Second.
Everybody good with that?
I'd also recommend maybe asking Denny Donald if he has any interest in doing that. He's the
Okay.
Community Development Director for the city.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Okay. That won't be part of the motion. I see some grumbling. Okay. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, motion to approve committee to explore options that will last for a 6-month period, be limited to 7 members, 3 from the board, and then 4 additional from the communities. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion prevails. We'll get going on that. All right. Okay, thank you. I guess it's part of what I'm supposed to be doing here is reviewing the Hudson Community Foundation request. I'm not sure what that is, Linda.
You were thinking, didn't we mention at the last meeting to go and see if they?
Oh,
You would.
sure.
Yeah.
Continue, go ahead. I didn't
No,
mean to
that's
interrupt.
okay, I'll let you finish, because I think you were going to ask if they would take us on.
High Valley Foundation.
Right, and that was actually Kurt's suggestion, was talking about the Hudson Community Foundation. So we can make that part of what we do with the committee.
Okay.
Okay. Number 10, Joint Libraries of Wisconsin exemption from county library. Linda?
Okay, I have gotten letters, no, wait a minute. What I noticed is the city has on their agenda to make an application to the county in order to be exempt from the county library levy. St. Croix County has requested that applications be submitted no later than September 1st and has provided the format for the resolution. I'm just saying, I think your municipalities need to do something, and if the deadline is September 1st on this. So if you have not taken care of sending that in,
County should have sent a letter to all the municipalities.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just making
Each
sure.
municipality
It's just
should
kind of a
have one.
reminder, you don't want to relax on that. And then also in the same kind of, I did receive from Town of Hudson and the Village of North Hudson that they are rescinding their withdrawal from notification, or from the joint agreement. I have not gotten any from the city or the Town of Hudson yet.
City never withdrew.
Okay, that's right, it could just be the Town of Hudson. I have not gotten a letter that says your withdrawal notification, you're rescinding it.
What time is it?
It's 8:04.
2 hours and 31 minutes ago, we approved that motion.
Okay, just making sure that the municipalities follow up on
Yes.
all of this. That's my whole point.
We acted on it at 5:30 this afternoon,
Okay, all right,
as
fine.
well as made application to the county for our exemption.
Oh, and then I did put in your packet some more information on this exemption, and you should have it, and I found it in the municipalities, August 2013. It's just a short article, but you might want to look at it. One of the things I had a question on was the maintenance of effort, which it says, this treatment first applies to property tax assessments as of January 1st, 2014. Because you're not only exempt now, you still have to have that maintenance of effort, which means it's the average of the 3 years of your funding is how you support the library. Okay?
So the fact that it's the funding by the 4 municipalities is reapportioned based on population, that shouldn't have any impact. I mean, it's minor tweaks, but would assume that the average would, yeah, mathematically, it's gotta be the same, okay.
Yeah, doesn't change. 3 years doesn't change.
The total doesn't change,
Right.
but it might.
Reapportioned.
Yeah, slight, now it's very small.
Okay. Good. 11, updates done by trustees in regards to 2014 municipal membership. You guys can just do that? Okay.
Just do that.
Finance committee report didn't meet, right? No report there. Steering committee, no report. Personnel committee, no report. Consider formation of a new library foundation for operational funding. I think that we'll kind of hold off on that for now, if that's okay, and put that maybe in the alternative committee. I would like to keep that on the agenda though, please. Before we go back to the budget, any comments on items for future agendas? No thoughts? Nothing? Okay. Move on. All right, back to the budget. Where did we leave off?
Well, I think one thing we need to go back and agree on income before we start figuring out what to cut.
Relative to whether,
Well, to determine what in fact the deficit would be. I mean, first of all, so the numbers we were looking at had no Friends, did not have the additional 15,000 next year from the Friends, right, Linda?
Linda changed it.
Yeah, but that's added at the end, so she did make that correction earlier. That's how we got down to 59,000, I believe.
What we did was we put the bridge gap down to 10.
Right.
And added 15.
Oh, yeah, that's because we're together.
And we left the I didn't have the 15 in there earlier.
And you put it in?
I have it added right now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's another 60.
So I really believe that the bridge the gap should be at least 15, if not 20 or 25. We have done no follow-up. We've just made a one appeal. And I think with follow-up, more monies could be raised. Unless we cause the communities to not support the library.
Well, that's not gonna happen, but your follow-up is conjecture. And so if you put a solid figure in here that you can attain or have attained, then anything else is gravy. Just leave it alone. Don't mess
Well-
with it. Just leave it at 10. And if you get 25, great, you get 15 extra. But don't put in 15 and get 20, or you're 5,000 short. You don't do that in budgets.
Put in 20 and get 15.
That's, I thought I said put in 25 and get 20, I thought that's what I said,
Yeah.
but I might be wrong.
Okay.
You don't want to have a shortfall, you want to have an excess. So you just leave, you always underestimate incomes and overestimate expenses, just to help yourself come out in municipal governments.
We have, in recent years, underspent the budget.
And that's good.
And that's good. So I'm very concerned about making significant cuts and then having a surplus at the end of the year. I think I don't see that as good management when we are reducing services.
You don't want to spend money you don't have.
I would recommend you take the 1% salary increase out, take the budget as it is, and then state the impact of what this means. Which is basically, the library is out of money by the end of 2014, or 2015, I'm sorry, because then your surplus fund is gone, and you don't have a cash flow, and you're out of money, basically. If you have to reduce your 70,000, deficit that you're showing, or whatever that's going to be, it would probably mean you go to a 4-day-a-week library, which is probably unacceptable for the community. And that, in my mind, is basically what's happening and where we're at. And if the 4 municipalities, after presenting that type of a budget, are willing to accept that, then that's where we're going. That's my opinion.
When you say take the 1% out, Rich, is that what the city's doing?
The city, I think, is proposing a 1 to 2%, yeah.
Okay, I mean, because I want to be consistent with the city.
Neil. Pardon?
I would like to be consistent with the city.
Yeah, I think
I've always argued that.
the city was looking at 1 or 2, and I think they might have settled on 1, but I don't really know for sure, Rich.
Okay.
But with a deficit, to present a salary increase with a deficit probably isn't the thing to
Yeah,
do.
good point.
And I think that just puts it on the line and says, here it is. That's only my opinion.
So what you're proposing is that we take the deficit budget to the municipalities and say, if the result will be that if this budget means that we'll be out of money in a year.
By the end of 2015, yeah. It takes the reserve fund and it depletes it, and we don't have cash flow, and the library is out of funds.
So if there's 250, in that, we need 3 months, the last 3 months were 160,000. So if you got $160,000 for cash flow, so you're at 90,000. I mean, you're barely over a year and a half. I mean, it's literally right up to the.
Right. When I spoke with John DeBacher, I believe, who is the state library.
Yeah, he heads the library department, the Department of Education.
He said that public libraries do not have reserve funds. This is a very unique situation. Because there is, the situation here in Hudson is unique. And because there are taxes that have been levied that are guaranteed to fund the library, that the library does not need to maintain that fund. That's what John DeBacher said. And he said to me, you cannot claim that you are destitute as long as you have that reserve fund. I'm only reporting what I was told.
I'm not sure what to
That
take out
doesn't
of
make
that.
any sense.
Yeah, I don't.
No, that doesn't make any sense. I say it's not germane.
Well, does that
This is
include libraries with foundations that have money sitting in foundations?
No, he was talking about, no. There's the public libraries in Wisconsin, less than, approximately 97% of their funding, their operational funding comes from taxes.
Sure.
So we're not talking about, anyway, so typically, our partners, we get the checks from our partners mid-February, right? So.
The first one, the
Yeah.
first one, you get the second one in August or September. Yeah.
Right. So we've been saying, we're probably splitting hairs here. We've been saying 3 months. Our partners have given us money. We've received the checks from our partners within 6 weeks.
Well,
but anyway,
we know. I mean, this is a different situation, I think, than than what could be covered by what John is saying, because we're running a deficit situation every year, and we have since I've been here. And we're fortunate that we
Right,
have
right.
that ability to do that, because obviously our communities they're up against their levy limits.
Right.
I mean, they're just, you know. So.
Let's just reiterate this real fast. We are exactly to the month, according to the budget that was presented 5 years ago when this building was designed. It was to take the excess funds, run a deficit for 5 years, and run out of money. This is the exact plan that was presented. We are there, we're living it. There is nothing different whatsoever. The revenue hasn't changed, the plan hasn't changed, the expenses hasn't changed. The only thing that's changed was the fact that this building was supposed to have some outside help to get financing to buy it.
Correct. Absolutely correct.
I sat at the meeting when Mike Hipsher presented the 5-year budget to deplete the funds to get us to the 5th year when somebody other than the city would own this building,
That's correct.
which was designed to be the library.
Absolutely correct.
I was there, so that's history.
Okay.
I was there as well.
All right, so back to the budget then. Rich has given us a suggestion. I think that's reasonable, probably to pull the 1% out. Well, I don't think it's reasonable, but I get it. I think that,
How much is the 1%?
I'm not quite sure how you got your numbers here. I cut out a difference of $177 in that first line item. That isn't 1% to me.
well, it's 1% of the salaries.
Well, it should be 1% of the salaries would be $1,532, $1,533. And it comes out,
So what should it be?
Well, you got part-time wages too, though, I think.
that's strictly full-time salaries. It's a difference of
I think that needs to be-
$177 and it should be $1,533.
I think that should be noted also, that we took any salary increase out for the budget. When we present.
Yeah, and absolutely, you go to the municipalities and say, this is the budget, you know, we're gonna operate under approximately a $60,000 deficit, and we'll be out of money, and see what they say. Absolutely. Don't wanna count on money you don't have or not, potentially could not get.
Okay.
But like you're saying, the municipalities are under levy limits. So what you're gonna ask them to do in order to stay in this building, as George Klein said at the last North Hudson meeting, is potentially cut another cop.
The municipalities are under levy limits,
So-
but they don't operate on zero delta, $0 budgets.
Yeah, and but they're not gonna, my point being that you're not gonna get an agreement by the 4 municipalities to shift funding to make up the 60,000.
Well, the other thing though is that the property values are going back up.
Yep.
Okay? What is that?
So
The mill rate changes, I don't know what the increase in property values would have to do with that.
What do you mean the mill rate changes?
It's a fluctuating,
Mill rate has nothing to do with it.
well, if the property values go up, are you saying that all of a sudden there's gonna be all the surplus funding coming in?
I'm not saying so, yeah, I'm saying that
There
we
will
should
be
be getting more
additional.
money coming in. They're not us, it's the municipalities.
Hmm.
Municipalities, maybe. Never mind, I'm not gonna say that.
All right, further discussion on, we don't have a motion in front of us, but I think we probably ought to make that a motion.
Sure, I'll make a motion.
Okay, second?
I'll second it.
All right, the motion then is to pull the 1% staff increase out and present the budget with that reduction. Further discussion?
And with the inclusion of the 15,000 for friends and drop the bridge the gap down to 10. I mean, all the things that we've been discussing.
All the things we talked about.
Okay.
Yeah,
Accept
That brings it out to the 59,763
yeah.
figure that.
Before the
So, yeah,
1%.
59,733.
So then you're gonna take another, it brings it out to like 58,000. Well, no, you didn't have that, you didn't have it figured correctly. So it's gonna come back $177.
Yeah, that's.
So around
pocket change,
59,600.
That's pocket change, it's $59,000 cut, so. That's basically what I was looking, I was kind of thinking, I'm not sure if that's correct.
Okay. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? Motion prevails. And then this is the question, who's going to present it to the municipalities?
Has St. Joe done anything? Has St. Joe done anything with regard to the 57, whatever $1,000 it is, we're donating to the libraries, or has St. Joe done anything with regard to, if they pulled their letter?
Yes,
What
we've got-
is St. Joe's plans for the future?
the letter was copied in the,
Yeah, they rescinded their letter, but what, have they rescinded the donation of the, what is it?
Paragraph 7 out of the.
Yeah, thank you. Paragraph 7 of the joint agreement, have they done
oh,
that?
I don't know. I haven't talked to Dan.
I'd like to know. I'd like to know what St. Joe's doing.
So have you?
I know the city and the village, or the city and the township, and I think the village is doing, but I have not heard a word of St. Joe's.
Okay. I will call Dan tomorrow morning.
Why don't we have the people that, I mean, I wouldn't mind taking, I'd need a corrected version of this proposal from Linda. If you could correct that, what we talked about. I mean, I wouldn't mind presenting that to the North Hudson Finance Committee so that they can see that, or the village board, however Stan wants me to do that.
I think that's our responsibility to take that.
Just take it back and tell them what we're doing, because we're,
That's good, I like that.
How do you like
Well,
that?
I think
How do you like
we-
I'm digging that, Dave.
we're not asking them for any additional
Well,
funding, so.
Yeah, but they still need to approve it. I believe that's what the joint agreement says.
Absolutely, and that's the reason for the September 1st deadline,
Right,
is because, so we can get it incorporated into our budgets,
Right.
which we begin working on here now
Right.
shortly. So you can take it to the village board, and if they're willing to give us a little more money and can find a little more money, great. If they can't, fine. But this is our, I think it's our responsibility to take it back to our respective boards.
Okay,
I'll take it to mine.
perfect.
So Linda, you'll get to us the revised amounts? You'll just email that to us? Okay.
All I gotta do is put the figures
Right.
there.
Yeah, I know. Just you change whatever we talked about.
Longevity will change some, but not a lot.
The deficit figure should be somewhere in the neighborhood of 59,600, right? Or right at?
Not after the 1%, I think it's closer to 58.
No, because that wasn't figured correctly.
Okay.
It was only $177 that added in, like Dave was saying, instead of
Okay.
1,500.
So you're at 48,789.
So how,
48?
I'm not following that.
Okay, what I did was, this was the budget
15.
for 2013, right? Where my finger is. For full-time, it was 152,385. All I had to do was, and
Yeah.
So
Okay,
the
why don't we take
part-time
the-
went up.
Kids. We shouldn't have changed that
Part-time
much.
wages went from 213 to 214, because there was an original decrease in it.
Right.
well, but we added a person this year.
No, I mean, on my printout, it
Right.
was 213, 455, now it's 214, 368.
Okay, what do you want in there? 213?
You had 213,
So you're keeping it flat, so what you have in
455,
there now is correct, with the 214, 368, if you're gonna stay the same.
but stay the same.
And you have the Friends down to 10, right?
The Friends,
Or not the Friends, I mean the bridge.
The bridge in 10,
the bridge,
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, Bridge is 10 and
Friends is 15.
It's at 783, that's correct.
So the income looks right.
okay?
So how did
Well, you
you,
pulled
how
a
did you
rabbit out of the
calculate
hat.
the 1% increase, Linda? Just,
No, she hasn't got it in there now, so.
I understand, but I'm just asking her, how did she calculate it? Was it based, I mean, it's not based on,
I just took what was here, 153,
which is,
and that included, the reason it's not 151 here is because remember that longevity, they put it in with the whole bunch of others. But I just took that amount and multiplied by 1%.
Is it the longevity
It's
out?
480, it's included in the 153.
Okay.
I, you know.
Yeah, let's see your page 2, please. One second, yeah.
And then now, do you want all of this the same?
Yes.
So this one, well, we can't, on the personnel, we have to keep the same. We have to keep if less the same.
I
Yeah,
think we've got it, Linda, except for the salary.
I think there was a change on the insurance.
Yeah, the property insurance was 1414.
Yeah, she's made that, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, then it looks good to me. 47.3.
Hey, it's getting better all the time.
Wow, yeah.
We stay here long enough to make it down to zero.
We just got $12,000 out of it.
That's pretty significant.
Wait a minute.
There's got to be something
There's
wrong.
something wrong.
There's something wrong.
Something is wrong, you didn't get.
You can't get 12 out of there without.
What's your subtotal on the bottom of the first page is 490 or 40?
485.
485. How did that drop 12,000?
Yeah, that's me.
That's a problem.
No, it's not a problem, because see, what happened last year in 2013, or did it drop or did it increase?
No, it dropped 12,000.
What?
153.
The health
213.
insurance is your problem.
Yeah, that's 12,000.
Yeah,
Well, what do we have?
75,000.
That's why I was asking you how you're
You
calculating.
dumped longevity, all right, so you got 28,
So it's 490.
28, 20, you dropped 5,000 out of health, out of pensions?
Right, the pensions is.
Dropped 5,000 out of pensions, and that's the same.
Oh, so you
What
moved
is
it
this?
all the same, and it should have only been the first 3 lines.
So that's 492, all right, so that's,
Now we shouldn't stay because we're adding back in. So the 2020 should be 25,134.
But you do got your
well,
glasses on.
yeah, I think it's better this way, but not the best.
But why would the pensions, I have to ask, why would the pension cost go up if the salaries isn't going up? Is the contribution rate changing? Or is it staying the same? Was it like
She's got pension the same, $20,020.
Okay, so
Originally, it was up.
originally you had it at 25,134.
Right, so she dropped,
So there's a 5,000.
Say 5,000 there.
The contribution
That would
rate-
be 54,
Right, Linda, that should stay the same, correct?
around 54 here.
I have not heard that it went up, no. Okay, 153, 280, 284, 158.
And you're on your. and
Oh,
you're-
that's where our problem is, that difference right there.
Right,
Where?
Insurance.
Mhm.
and that's a firm number that it did go up to that.
But that's
No,
what you
it's
had
not a
before.
firm number, it is not a firm number. It is what he asked.
He said to put in there to cover it. Okay.
All right, so you save $5,000 there in that expenditure, the staff expended compensation category there. You're down to 492, so okay, fine.
I missed that, so why the reduction in the 5,000?
Pension.
Pension.
Yeah, well, why?
'Cause there's
was it at
nothing-
If
25?
salaries aren't going up, pensions shouldn't go up.
But I guess
1%?
I'm still questioning the
Well, maybe
pension
I had
cost.
error.
5,000, that's,
Okay, what did I have?
Would Neil have the answer to that?
Was it a bigger savings in the pension
that's
than the salaries?
25%. That's 25% saving.
We knocked 1,500 off the salaries and $5,000 off of pension?
No, but look at this year's pensions, 2020.
Yeah, $20,020.
I guess
So,
we have
so
to
to
say-
change your
So the
thing
pension,
opposite, Rich, why would it go up 5,000 for 1%?
Well, that might have come from the city, and that might be that could have been something that the legislature did to offset unfunded liability.
I'll double check with him. Okay.
Yeah, you're right, maybe the pension system's so out of whack. the
but why
pensions
is that?
drag
Yeah,
more.
because that should be less. Because I thought that the employer's contribution, i.e. the state or the school district, or maybe Dan knows since you participate in that pension, but isn't it like now the employees
I'm
pay?
paying a lot more than I did, yes.
Right, no, but you
But
pay
that-
5.8%, isn't it? The total contribution 11.6%?
Yes.
So why, I'm just trying to wrap my mind around why that's 2020.
54.
Because what I come up with is if you have salaries of 153, 285, and you have a cost for the employer of the
She
pension,
was just in
Yeah,
town
but
fixing it.
214, some of that is pension also. And the
That,
part-time people.
Something.
those are numbers that came from the
Okay,
city.
so it's coming, so part-time people participate in the pension program
If they
as
have
well.
30 hours.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to understand it, because 5.8% of 153,000 is more like $9,000.
But isn't that a number that came from the city? Pension?
No, I just figured it myself.
You did it yourself, okay.
But see, look at, right now, we're just the same as we were last year then. As long as we don't have pay increases, right?
Well, I get that
I have no
we're,
idea, I don't know what
I can
happened.
double check, but I haven't heard.
I'd ask Neil if there's any change in that.
So that's 492, so now if we can look at the next page, are we done? Are you done, Kurt, or are you got some more questions on this, or?
well, I guess I maybe ask Neil about the I just not
Yeah, she needs to
understanding.
clarify that.
But I think
Somehow we dropped it, no, now we're right.
And-
Now we got 54 there, that's what I was saying, about it should be
Yeah.
54.
Well, she took that 5 out, yeah.
Yeah,
It was 59 minus, okay.
yeah, well, now
Okay.
we dropped from
Because the health
70 to
insurance was
54,
correct.
that's,
So that looks good.
that looks better,
Okay.
much more. Yeah, advertising?
So you'll send out a corrected version
Yeah.
via email, so we can present
People are
that?
able to, unless I hear differently from me. And we'll remove this. Remove that. Nope.
I don't think we should anticipate that money coming from our.
God. No, that's.
So, are we gonna run 2014 at a deficit?
Yes,
Yep.
Yes.
yes.
And it'll be
We were planning on it, yes.
Yeah, I mean, better ideas.
That was the motion
Makes sense.
that we passed.
54,803.
Okay, we good?
And each member of the municipality will be doing the presentations.
So are the presentations needing to be done before we present the budget? Are you, before
That's part of
the August, are you planning to do this before August 31st?
No.
Okay.
No, it has to be done here before August 31st,
Right.
so you can be presented in September when you begin the budgeting process. When we
Which is
start,
October 1st for.
yeah, we start,
That
we
means September
we start
1st.
looking at it in September, and then we start having hard meetings in October for the budgeting. That's what counts as it.
Mary Davis is here and she wanted to do the presentation. Would you speak to the company?
Oh,
Ready,
really?
Rich?
Sure. Yeah.
It won't take very long, and I did make a copy if anybody wants it. We were gonna ask to be part of the art show, but that has fallen through, so forget that. I don't need anything approved tonight. I just have a report on the story summer reading program. We'll have final records in September because Carol's program will be over then. The children's program is over, and I'll give you the big totals, and then I'll pass these out and you can see the small totals. We had 112 participating in the summer reading program from the preschool group, and 356 from the grade school group, which gave us 468 altogether, which is what's on the tree out there. Each child signed a leaf and they're hanging on the tree out there. We did 8 big programs, and we had participation from 42 different people to help us out with the programs. We had people come in and read, we had people do book clubs, we had people donate prizes. We had the big donations from Hudson Moms Group gave us a Lego table, the Eagle Scout Project. We had the puppet show, puppet theater, the Girl Scout grant. We just got 6 leader books and 36 workbooks from them. The Eagle Scout group also had the Rotary as part of their, they did the fund, so they helped with the fundraising. Any questions? Would you like my report, or are you having enough?
What the Eagle Scouts do, because I'm a former scout leader, just curious,
The
what was their project?
They did the puppet stage for us.
Built the stage.
One boy, Eric Cole, who was working for his Eagle Scout badge, he did it from scratch. He learned how to use a router. There are no sharp pointers on it. He fastened it all together. He contracted with 2 people to do sewing. And the group, the scout troop that he's in did the painting. It is great. We have terrific imagination going on with the kids. We hear some puppet shows that we probably shouldn't hear. But lots of interaction. We have parents doing puppet shows for their kids. We have kids doing puppet shows. You'll walk in and all the chairs will be sitting there with the stuffed animals sitting on them and watching the puppet show.
As a former committee chairman for a Boy Scout troop, that's how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to be happy, so I just was checking. Good, excellent,
It's a
excellent.
great thing. Yeah.
You should go look at it, it's quite impressive.
Yeah. Cool.
So we'll be working on our program for the next year. Our numbers are down, but we have a heck of a lot of competition in Hudson with the schools doing programs, the trips doing programs, the Y doing programs, Croy doing, can't say Croy doing programs, the church is doing programs. We've just got lots of competition, so we're in there fighting for it.
Excellent.
Cool.
How about if I leave these over by the door, and if you'd like that, that's fine.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay.
So-
Did you have Linda include that in, maybe in online stuff? Or?
I can give her a copy of
Sure.
this tomorrow. I
Very
think
good.
I have 8 written on this.
Okay.
So. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
You didn't tell me. Good, good, good. I remember.
Good, good, good.
Yeah, now.
Excellent. Like that.
Excellent.
Yeah, please.
All right. Anything else?
You didn't hear me again.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Then moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.